Wonderful friends, good morning and welcome to the spiritual side of Virginia. Happy Sunday as always. It is so good to be with you here today and this Sunday, the sunny Sunday. And before our prayer, we'll read a message together. Today's message comes from Happy Life by Joana de Angelis through the mediumship of Divaldo Franco and can be found on page 215 of Happy Life. And the message for all of us friends says, there is a widespread erroneous notion that honest, hard-working people are fools. This comes about as a consequence of material prosperity due to injustice, theft, disgrace, and bribery, which today have reached devastating proportions within society. However, those who think and act this way are wrong. Material prosperity without dignity corrupts habits, disrupts the individual, and degrades the soul. Only honor prevails. The good outlasts everything. Stay wise and live with dignity.
So we're invited to pray together. Prayer is medicine. It's like a boost of health, vitality. Let us visualize beautiful sunlight shining upon us, feeling the warmth of this light, feeling the kindness of God's love, greeting us, pacifying our mind and heart. Dear God, Mother, Father of all of us, we're so happy to be here together with one another and you in this invitation to deep inner balance. For many lives, we've made unconscious choices that led us to the natural consequences of each of our choices. Every choice has a consequence. May we celebrate the freedom of choosing, knowing the natural obligation of taking the consequences of our choices. We pray today especially for peace on earth. May this session counterbalance everything that no longer pertains to our planet. We visualize peace inside of us and in every piece of land of our planet. May the hearts of those who departed in acts of brutality be enveloped in kindness, help, and the loved ones who stayed be consoled in the certainty that you love all of us and that there is always a new day. Life doesn't end here. We ask for your guidance, loving guidance, as we already feel your protection and the opportunity you're granting us to be here. And so be it. Thank you, Tony. All right, friends, our session today begins here, and then we're gonna have our activities in our rooms. Back to the joy of learning. So today, hold on a second. Today, okay, I'm gonna play this yet. We're gonna recall why we are in the school of Earth. Why is it? Because we go to our schools, but we are all in a big school named Earth. Why are we here on Earth? Any hint, friends? Why are we here? To there's Brigadeiro today. For those who answer, for those who answer, for those who answer the question. Oh, Paula. Paula wants to Brigadeiro. Paula, say it. Yes, there is even a song, right? Reincarnation, the path of progress. Reincarnation, the way to become good, to achieve true happiness. So we need to learn the new and not repeat the old. So for that, we need to educate ourselves. But the goal is to learn to love. It's not about math, okay? So are you happy with the news? Huh? That you can go to heaven without math. Whoa, that's progress, is it not? But did you know that in the equation of God, the result is love? So everything is math. Love is math, math is love. Okay? Yeah. No. So at the end of the day, you and I are here to learn to love. It's all about love. Sometimes we escape love, and we escape it with all of our might, right? Sometimes we have that sibling, and instead of loving, we run away. The parent, we run away. The teachers at school, poor teachers. We have teachers here, Fernanda and Jane. Mamma mia. Look, they're friends. When you look at your teachers, remember Fernanda and Jane. Say, oh, so they can be my friends too. Okay. And we don't need to run away. So, because this begins with a family altogether, we're gonna watch a video, beautiful video, based on a book that is titled, okay, hold on, let me just make sure that our friends over there are also gonna watch it. Okay, and I'm gonna turn on the screen for us. You ready? It's this book. Hold on. Okay, love finds a way. It's our journey in a reincarnation. We also need to give way to love. So let's see, who are we in the story, huh? Who are we in the story?
Love Finds a Way by Vern Kowski.
No.
Oscar always worried that one day.
No. Yeah, no, yeah. Oh, the volume here, right? Yeah, it's the volume here, friends. Back. Again.
Love Finds a Way by Vern Kowski. Oscar always worried that one day love would find him. He could feel it out there, somewhere in the forest, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. There had to be some way to keep love away. Oscar tried one thing after another, until at last he knew the answer. He would get a ferocious guard dog. Oscar named the dog Brutus and taught him how to growl and bark and chase. Brutus was very good at his job, so after the first day, Oscar rewarded him with a friendly scratch. After the second day, he gave Brutus a tasty treat. Then, after the third day, Oscar played a fun game of fetch with Brutus, who wished it would never end. Now, when it rained, Brutus would lie by Oscar's chair, and when it was cold, he would sleep in Oscar's bed. At last, Oscar felt completely safe. With Brutus by his side, there was no way love would ever reach him. Then one day, Brutus did not return from guarding the yard. Oscar searched and searched. He could not find Brutus anywhere. Now there was no one to protect Oscar, no one to growl or bark or chase. And love was getting closer and closer and closer until... But as Oscar finally found out, love wasn't anything to worry about. The end.
Wow. Who are we in the story? The squirrels, the dog, Oscar. Who are we? Are we running away from love, thinking it's so scary? Because it requires a lot, right? Imagine the squirrels around Oscar. Love is not like, let's stay here quietly. It demands some energy, huh? Uh-huh. Oh, the impure minds thinking about something. So today we are gonna stay here with the adults, talking about more of this as you guys go inside and enjoy more of this too. All right? Let's work on it. Oh, sorry. Ay. There you go. Enjoy. Incarnate, which is simply going back to where we are every day when we sleep. That's all it is. When we are there, all that matters is love. And funny enough, when Julia brought me the affirmation says love is an irresistible force that revives and fertilizes the latent virtues hidden away in every heart. Little by little, we're discovering that in us. The question is, are we like Oscar running away from love? Running away from love. So what is love, right? Because that's the question. What is love? You want me to sing? No, I'm not going to sing. What is love? Okay. So the other day, Mentor Joseph, he explained it to us. He said, love is a construction. It begins with, first I acknowledge the presence of someone. I have to acknowledge. If I don't consciously acknowledge, love can't stay there. So first I say, it's not about me. Oh, the other. Hello, the other. Huh? Oscar was always on him. He didn't see others. The dog helped him open his eyes, realize the world around. So in our lives, we're going to have instruments like Brutus, the dog, that is going to invite us. Look, there is this, there is that, there is the other. And then we recognize. So to love, we first need to acknowledge the other, the presence of someone else. We can't love thinking about ourselves. When we think of ourselves only, there's no love. Love begins in the relationship. So we establish the connection. And then we look, we observe, we start liking, admiring, and from observing, liking, admiring this other, like Oscar, going out of his home. Through the dog, he was opening himself and observing and then liking. Oh, it is fun to play, to see, to watch. Then he liked. From liking, when the other needs, then you start wishing them well. And then you help. From acknowledging the presence to observing, liking, I start wishing them well. And as I wish them well, I help. And as I help, one day I see that this help is more important than anything else. That for me to live, I need to forget about myself. Like Jesus, he went to the peak of the mountain of love. He never thought about himself. He always thought about all of us and still does. And I know it's controversial because many people are going to say, but hold on for this. If I think about others all day long, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to rest. No, there's a balance because our physical body is not even us. That's surreal, huh? When you realize that your physical body is not you, then you need to take care of it. Acknowledge the physical body. Take care of it. Listen to the selves. They're saying, I don't like cheese, I don't feel well. Then don't eat it because it's not you. Oh, I am lactose intolerant. No, you are not because you're spirit. But the body doesn't process this well. So I'm going to respect and say, I'm not going to give to you what I can't process. The body's saying, I need to rest. That's a little dangerous because we want to rest more than we need, right? But let's say when we really need, the body's saying, I need to rest. Then listen to the body, pause, rest. And then the body's going to say, I need exercise. Oh, but I don't want to exercise. But it's not you. The spirit is not exercising. Think about it. You are not the physical body. I am not the physical. I'm not even in this physical body. I'm connected to. I, as a spirit, I am in a spiritual dimension, connected through the spiritual body to this physical body. So when I say, oh my gosh, I don't like working out, excuse me, the body loves it. We just need to put our mind where the body is. That's the challenge. To put the mind where the body is. The body is here. I am a commander of this body. So when I take care of the body, I'm taking care of others because these cells are not me. They are with me. So taking care of the physical body is about also loving others. Is love. When I eat, when I sleep, when I exercise, is this loving care. These cells are not our slaves. They are friends. Andrew Lewis in the book Evolution into Worlds, he's going to tell us in the second chapter of the book, in the first part of the book, second chapter, these cells are like little animals, he say, like little pets. We need to take care of it. So I start forgetting about my idle mind, I don't know, wandering mind, and I go exercise. Don't need to go to the gym, you can exercise at home. Nowadays, you go through social media, there are so many trainers giving lessons for free. You just place them there and copy them out. That's all they do. That's all we do. And it doesn't need to be an hour. Mm, It doesn't need, and it doesn't need to be one straight hour. You can do 10 minutes now, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the beginning of the evening, and that suffices according to science. At least 30 minutes a day, every day. It's it, that's it. And it doesn't need to be exerting as long as we are in motion. The body needs it. And then in the pathway to love, from acknowledging the presence, observing, liking, helping, wishing them well, helping, then we start forgetting about ourselves, which we call sacrifice. And then love naturally is born. Like Oscar. Oscar observed in his life that everything he was running away with was so natural. It was life. We cannot afford any longer running away from life. Freud said once that there are two forces inside of us, the force of life, the force of death. And health, mental health, depends on how much we give to each one of them. That's why thinking positively is so essential. So that's when we come to Jesus. When he said to us once, his life, he said, let your light shine. Chapter 5 of the book Thought and Life by Emmanuel. It's about education. And Emmanuel begins by referring to that instruction given by Jesus. Let your light shine. And what is that to do with education? Because education is about new habits. That's what it is, not about schools, physical schools. It's about new habits. You and I are here to learn new habits, but we need to be open to the new. And that's why we have one another, because we're different. And the differences that we have help us boost the new. Because if everyone were just like us, we would have no progress. So we look at people around, the way they cook is different, the way they dress is different, everything is different. And that's great because we learn new ways of doing things and learn new things we've never learned. We're learning beings. Neuroscientists proved since the year 2002 in California, San Diego, at the University of California, San Diego, Fred Gage, for the first time on Earth, observed that no matter how old we are, we can grow new neurons. What does that mean? New neurons means new learning. But what's the condition for this, what we call neurogenesis, the genesis of new neurons? How do we do this? If we expose ourselves to the new. So when somebody says, come with me, mom, come to the K-pop concert. Oh my gosh, I had that invitation last year. I said, why don't you call your friends? No, mom, I want to be with you. I said, oh my gosh, are you sure? I will chaperone you, of course. I'm not gonna say, yeah, go to the concert by yourself. But you call your friend. No, no, mom. I said, okay, okay. I know one day I will want to go, and she's gonna say, no, mom, I'll go with my friends. I say, okay, but I'm gonna call my friends, okay? Can I call some of my friends so they can join the experience with me? And on that day, there was a major soccer match. Oh my gosh, for my team. In the middle of the concert, thanks to our internet and phone, I could watch both. Both. It was a feast. And then I started liking these guys, these K-pop guys. I said, they're so adorable. They're so gentle. It's fascinating, this cultural exchange. They were singing mostly in Korean, and everybody was singing along. And I look at Virginia like, you know Korean now? I know Korean now. You know Korean now? Wow. And then I felt that now I need to learn Korean too. So see the fascinating aspect of having children. It's another opportunity for us to learn. But I see parents who don't want to learn. They're saying, ah, no, that new generation, what they do, blah. But then, so you're going to wait for another reincarnation to learn the new? Oh, no. If you learn more in this one, it's possible we're going to save some reincarnations in the future. Because reincarnation is a challenge. It's beautiful, but it's a challenge. So the more we learn in this one, the better it is. The better it is. And talking about love, how do Koreans do the heart sign? You've seen it? No? You know, you learned it too. Yeah? There you go. That's how Koreans do. The Brazilian president was visiting South Korea, and the whole administration, the Korean, they were all, I'm like, man, it's not only K-pop, it's Korea, the whole Korea thing. It's the heart, right? It's like a heart. New ways to love, to express love. It's so good to learn. It feels lighter. You learn what's happening to the brain. Spiritual and physical brain expanding. That's what happens when there's a new stimulus. Let's say this is some neurons in the brain. Huh? When there's a new stimulus, it's going to stimulate the release of some what we call chemicals, some molecules, and then when this happens, learning is established. That's why learning happens with repetition, effort, and repetition. It takes effort once, twice, three times, a million. So when you say, oh, but I've already been through this, I don't know why it's happening again in my life, it's a sign we need to make this learning solid. So to learn to love, We need successive approximations in life in order to establish the learning. So Jesus came to us and said, "You're light. Let the world that is in need of learning just that. The world is daily choosing the light. More and more people are saying, we don't want aggression. We don't approve of wars anymore. We don't want killings. We want togetherness. The world is supporting togetherness. There are still a few people that are like Oscar, running away from love. But a Brutus is gonna come in their way to bring them to the realization we can't run away. But to learn the new is the essential element for us to progress. And that's why Emmanuel is gonna say that to progress, we need to let this light shine, referring to Jesus. And he says in one moment here for us, a chapter that is so beautiful, I would recommend everybody to read, so small, and he says, it all depends in the mind. That's where the light is, inside of us. So he says, thought is a creative force projected by the person who generates it. And he's going to say, when we think, the human mind is the mirror of light, with which projects and assimilates. So it's a mirror. I am light, I emanate, but I also attract. André Luiz is going to say in the book Mechanisms of Mediumship, law of the mental field. Learning to think is essential. Learning to think, because usually we just allow thoughts to run. And the other day I was telling Virginia, when you go to sleep, what do we usually do if we're not aware? We just go there and allow our thoughts to go anywhere they want. What is it? It's like a horse, a wild horse. A wild horse is so beautiful. If you see wild horses, it's so beautiful to see their freedom going anywhere they want. And they are so majestic, right? The horses, the wild horses. But they serve to nothing. If you don't domesticate the horse, can't use it. It doesn't help us in any way. That's our minds. The mind is this wild horse. Beautiful. Thoughts, 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 thoughts. But let's domesticate. Come here. Come here. No, no, we're not gonna go melancholic today. That's domesticating the horse. You may be beautiful there, revisiting, blah, 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 but that doesn't help us. Come back. Focus on the now. Come here with me. Let's think about the beauty of doing this, of doing that. And that's why we have the physical body to ground that horse and say, stay here, because we're obligated to stay in the present to survive. So that's how the mirror of the mind is projecting and assimilating. And he says, however, this mirror is more or less a prisoner of the thick shadows of ignorance or what we learned. In order to be able to give off celestial irradiations and project our divine brightness, it is indispensable to cast off this layer of darkness through a process of perfectioning and enlightenment. And believe it or not, it takes him all this to tell us at the end of the chapter how important education is. Hence the real need of education for everyone. So we're reading this part together. Let us also remember the words of the eternal benefactor Jesus when he said, "Let your light shine," meaning that the potential of light is our spirit should shine to its fullness. Such a state can only be achieved through the kind of education that will offer required improvement. It's not only about the intellect, he's going to talk about the instruction that leads us to new habits. Kardec said that in the Spirit's book, in his very comment, Kardec's comment, to a question in the chapter about the law of work, saying to be useful is important. And that's why we need to transform society into the acquisition of new habits. A new child is born. Make no mistake, this child is fully open to the new. So when I see parents that say, that's how they are, they're just babies, huh? That's how they are what? So that's your task to fix it. Fix this child. You're the teacher. You're the coach. And that's when Mentor Joseph gives us a hand. He says, Vanessa, parents are coaches. Coaches are in the same team. Our problems as parents is that sometimes we feel we are the adversary of the child, especially the teens. Huh? We look at them like you versus me. And they say, no, no, stand by the side of your child, of your teen, and say, I'm coaching you for your own benefit. It's not about you or me. It's about your progress. So if I'm telling you, give me the phone now, it's because I love you. And now you need to play this game without the phone. Not because I'm punishing you, but I am your coach. If you win, I win. So it's nonsensical when parents feel that pull and push like a tug of war between them and the kids. No, no, no. No pull and push. Partnership. The parent, the teacher, the educator as a coach. We're in the same game. We are part of the same team. And we need to win this game together. And our responsibility to coach them to the good. New habits. They're going to say, I don't like this. Okay, now we're going to love this. Right? So we're going to love it. I don't like studying. Oh, now we're going to love it. Don't tell them you didn't like studying when you're a kid, because that is bad inheritance. Huh? I see parents say, I didn't like it either. Oh, please don't say that. So why are you a parent then? Hmm? No, no, you're responsible. You say, okay, I didn't like that. Now I'm gonna like it because I need to make my child like this. So it's God saying, come back, you who ran away from learning. Your child is calling you back to school, huh? And it's so much easier nowadays. You have internet, you have AI. So I don't know what that teacher is saying. Don't worry. Sometimes I do that to Virginia. Say, I don't remember that, especially in English. Learned it in Portuguese. I don't remember all these words. So I say, let me ask AI. No, mom, that's you know. I am seeing this, not you. Let me see what it is. And then I go to YouTube, research. Oh, now I know what. Oh, I remember now. So let me tell you what it is. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse for parents to say, I don't know. It's a second opportunity to learn. with our children, and then with grandchildren, by the way. If learning with our children wasn't enough, the grandchildren come along, right, Maria? And then there we are, all over again with our children. So, learning especially to love. Love is patient, love is kind. All that Paul of Tarsus wrote to us in his famous epistle about love, and love is what actually nourishes our souls. What would be of us if Master Jesus hasn't come to literally express his love for us? Before Jesus, love was not a topic on earth. In Moses, we learn about the importance of prioritizing God, but it was a love that we couldn't quite understand until Jesus came and became the living presence of love. And one time, to wrap up this conversation, the movie is going to be in our minds. Humberto de Campos described this deep conversation between one of his most devoted disciples, Bartholomew, who was most likely, like majority of people on earth, melancholic. He was like, I know all of this, but Master, I, it's hard to know how I'm going to apply all this in my life. My life is not easy. My mom, the only person who understood me, is gone. My dad is always demanding. My brothers, they don't like me. They're always pushing me away. And my colleagues at work, they bully me all the time. What do you want me to do? How can I reconcile my life with your message? And then he says, Bartholomew, have you heard of good news that doesn't bring joy? Those who follow the teachings of the good news, they have a trademark: joy, hope, and courage. The courage that Joana de Angelis is saying here, courage to be a good person. But everybody in my circle, Vanessa, is talking bad about if I don't gossip, I'm not in. So then, why coming to the center asking for happiness if I choose to gossip outside, to criticize, to badmouth? I can't be happy this way. And, but Vanessa, I need more money, and this friend of mine has, I know it's a little shady. They say a little shady business. It's just a little. But I need the money. How are we going to progress if we don't have the courage to do the good? And the courage to face adversities with dignity without creating scams. It's when a guy comes to me and says, can you pay in cash? So you want cash because you don't want to pay taxes, but I'm paying taxes. So you're going to pay taxes too. I'm sorry. That's how it works. How do we want to improve our lives on earth if little things happen and we say it's okay? So in our last mediumistic meeting, the mentors were saying this. Remind everyone and yourselves that there is no happiness without integrity. There is no life in happiness, in joy, in peace, making shady exchanges, lying, cheating, betraying, not being honest, not being sincere. So Jesus is saying, you're better than that, Bartolomeo. the courage to do the good, even though people don't understand. If Chico Xavier didn't have that courage, we wouldn't be here. If Kardec didn't have that courage, we wouldn't be here. The courage to say, no, I do not agree with a religion that creates dogmas that are not opening our lives for happiness. He faced the church at the time, and he faced science as well, saying, you may not prove it, but that's how it is. He had the courage to face all odds, and thanks to him, we're here. Thanks to his wife, Amélie Boudet. Thanks to Chico Xavier, in a small Catholic city who faced the whole city and had the courage to love by producing what he did that gives us life to date. So Jesus is talking to Bartholomew, and at some point, Bartholomew says, but is so to love, does it demand anything? And he says, no, love doesn't demand. Love transforms. We saw the beautiful story with Oscar. Keeping all this in mind and Jesus in mind, we're going to wrap up by watching the story again. To see now from a new angle where we are in our love journey. If we already see our way in and stop running away from it.
Waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. There had to be some way to keep love away. Oscar tried one thing after another, until at last he knew the answer. He would get a ferocious guard dog. Oscar named the dog Brutus and taught him how to growl and bark and chase. Brutus was very good at his job, so after the first day, Oscar rewarded him with a friendly scratch. After the second day, he gave Brutus a tasty treat. Then, after the third day, Oscar played a fun game of fetch with Brutus, who wished it would never end. Now, when it rained, Brutus would lie by Oscar's chair, and when it was cold, he would sleep in Oscar's bed. At last, Oscar felt completely safe. With Brutus by his side, there was no way love would ever reach him. Then one day, Brutus did not return from guarding the yard. Oscar searched and searched. He could not find Brutus anywhere. Now there was no one to protect Oscar, no one to growl or bark or chase. And love was getting closer and closer and closer until... But as Oscar finally found out, love wasn't anything to worry about. The end.
There you go. So friends, here we are. Probably we would give another end to the book, I guess. Probably, right? I don't know. That's what the kids, some of the older ones are doing just now. Giving another end to the story. But let's think of our story. This inner light of us, this love within us, allowing it to come out, blossom, and embrace everyone in our lives. Let us close our eyes and feel the love that God has for us. God loves us so dearly. Let us visualize this unbreakable connection we have with God, the source of love. Breathe in, accepting God's love, breathing out, and being willing to express this love, accepting everyone who is in our lives without restriction, embracing everyone in our lives with loving care. Breathing in and out, we prepare ourselves to continue this therapeutic session through the process. So, friends, let's help one another, wishing well. Let us visualize our beloved best friend, Jesus, in front of us, with his loving smile, inviting us to love. So help one another, always making this collective effort. Like Andre Luis taught us, and we studied on Friday in the book Missionaries of the Light. The good spirits of the passes, they use everybody's contribution to help everyone. Let us breathe in and out. Visualize a beautiful waterfalls of healing light showering upon us, displacing toxins of the mind and the bodies, and implementing our vitality with God's loving molecules. Let us keep helping one another, visualizing the spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists who are here and know exactly what we need for the body and the minds. Let us visualize their beautiful smiles welcoming us to the loving care of God as they transfuse renewing energies. Now let us all together visualize flowers of healing. Flowers are the signature of love, said Joana de Angelis once. Let us visualize them as the loving and kind spirit doctors offer them to us, reminding us of love in our lives, bringing them close to our hearts, and allowing this flow of love to go through us, strengthening us, detoxing us, revitalizing us. Friend Jesus, inviting us to clean our minds, our hearts, to rethink of the story we read, love finds a way. Now let us visualize together those beautiful flowers that we were given. Now the good and loving spirits, as part of our treatment, they kindly ask us to visualize one of those flowers that we were given, healing flowers. Select it and let us see ourselves side by side with Jesus, offering that flower of peace and reconciliation to one person whom we need to reconcile with.
We continue with our eyes closed, feeling the presence of the spirit mentors of the SSVA. We breathe in and out more deeply, and we praise you, God, for being our creator, for creating this beautiful planet. We thank you for the opportunity of being here together, receiving the healing and loving treatment that each one of us needs. We pray that we open our hearts to your invitation to renew ourselves, to forgive, and to love. May throughout this week we continue in these vibrations of love, and may we be instruments of the good everywhere we go, with our thoughts, with our words, with our actions. May we always be able to give a comforting word, to support one another, and to be instruments of peace and harmony. And with our hearts filled with much gratitude, we ask the permission to finalize these moments of prayer, and so be.